everyone, and I'd like to welcome you to the meeting of November 26, 2018. Now the Superintendent Sierra Harvey will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is one of the times in the board meeting when community members are allowed to address the board. There will also be a public hearing at the end of the meeting. Does anyone in the audience wish to be heard at this time?
Good evening. Ms. President, I am a parent of a Roseville Community student. Roseville Community Schools passed a bond last spring. Can you give any updates on the progress of that bond?
That's a very good question. Our superintendent will be happy to outline and preside over that issue.
Thank you so much for bringing up this subject. I would like to ask Deputy Superintendent Knox to give us some details about the importance of the bond. If any board members have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask.
We addressed 4 major areas with the bond: technology, transportation, athletic facilities, and band equipment. Our current technology in the district is out of date and starting to break down. Buses are starting to become expensive due to the age of many buses in our fleet. Our athletic facilities at our schools are in need of massive renovations. And finally, our band equipment in our schools is extremely old and needs to be replaced. Our communications and marketing facilitator, Mr. Zarelli, can give you information about how we are getting information out about the bond.
We have been getting information about the progress of the bond out by using our social media like Facebook, Twitter, and our district website. The district wants to keep the community as informed as possible. Many people cannot make the meetings, so this is a way to reach out to as many Roseville families as we can.
Trustee Chamberlain.
Madam President, what is involved in the process when asking for a bond?
Deputy Superintendent Knox, can you answer this question?
Yes, I can. The district sent a team last December to present our bond proposal to the state of Michigan. Roseville was approved to ask voters for $59.4 million. This proposed budget was developed by our architect, construction manager, and district administrators.
Trustee Wells.
Madam President, what are some of the guidelines that go along with the bond?
Superintendent Harvey, will you please provide us with some information about the guidelines for a bond?
There are many parameters set for how and what you can spend the bond money on. Our Executive Director of Business and Finance, Ms. Fawn, will you give further information about what we can be asked for in the bond?
Bonds are similar to a mortgage and are required to be paid off in an allotted amount of time. The money to pay back the loan comes from the taxes collected. None of the money can be used on teachers, support staff, or administrators' salaries. We can only use the money for very specific things approved by the state. We presented those items like Ms. Knox explained earlier last December. Our board attorney, Ms. May, can explain the process of getting the bond on the ballot in May.
The state must approve languages on the ballot that people saw last May, and the state wanted the district to approve wording that is clear and consistent, which would assure that it would be easily understood to all citizens.
Treasurer Kuros.
Madam President, what type of technology do we plan on implementing in our schools?
I will direct that question to our Director of Technology, Ryan Shimke.
We plan on upgrading all desktop computers for teachers and providing a device for each student in all the schools. Comment Elementary is lucky enough to already have much of the technology we plan on putting in most of our other buildings due to their SIG grant. The bond was approved by voters will also address the outdating of technology in future years. Technology will be replaced and or updated in 3 phases. We must stay competitive with our neighboring districts, so up-to-date technology is essential. In addition, we want our students to be exposed to technology that they will encounter in the real world outside of school. This makes them the most competitive for jobs. Our Director of Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Childress, can talk about technology that will address safety and security.
We will be replacing and upgrading many of the security features that we have in our schools. Many of them are currently out of date, making it difficult to repair. Additionally, we need more cameras in the schools to help with blind spots. This will help our schools be safer as we move into the future. At the high school, we have over 100 entrance points. We need to be able to have eyes on all of these locations.
Trustee Jaworski.
I had heard Roseville Community Schools received a school safety grant. How does this enhance our safety improvements?
I will ask Deputy Superintendent Knox to answer that.
First, let me say that this was a competitive grant through the Michigan State Police. Many districts applied, and we were fortunate enough to receive over $243,000 to enhance our security in our schools. There are 3 main areas addressed. The first is a door monitoring system to help us monitor exits. The second is installing emergency locking systems on key exit doors. And the third is labeling our exit doors to help first responders identify exits in case of emergencies.
Secretary Rakarsky.
Madam President, I think all the parents and the students should be excited about all the technology coming our way with the bond upgrades. The second major area mentioned to be addressed was transportation. Can you give us some more information about that?
Absolutely. Our Coordinator of Transportation and Maintenance, Ms. Kroos, can answer that.
The district has purchased 9 buses. So far, we have received 8 regular buses, which has allowed us to reduce the walking distance from our high school students from 2 miles to 1.5 miles. This also helps keep our students safer. The remaining bus is a special education bus that will replace an older bus. These buses will help save money on maintenance and provide more fuel-efficient transportation.
Vice President Terry Martin.
Madam President, after walking around our football field and track during the fall season, I saw many things that needed to be addressed. Can you give us an update on the progress of the athletic field?
Our Director of Building and Grounds, Mitchell Trudges, can answer that question.
Our track has major compromises with cracks, and in some spots, cement is showing, which makes it unsafe for meets. The track is also only 6 lanes. To host track meets, you are required to have 8. We are installing a synthetic sports field. This will save money on watering year-round and provide a safe surface that doesn't need resodding every year. An artificial field will allow for multiple groups to use the field without worrying about destroying the surface.
Will any bond money be used to address the lack of bathrooms and distance of the concession stands?
We are addressing both of those items with the bond. Our bond architects, partners in architecture, are working on this project and will present the options to the board.
Trustee Chamberlain.
Madam President, the last major area of the bond is band equipment. Can you update us on this progress?
Our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Hannah Edwards, can answer this question.
Thank you, Madam President. The list of instruments provided by our band instructors has been put out to bid, and most of the instruments have been purchased and delivered to the buildings. Our band instruments at all levels were 30 years old and falling apart. Many of these instruments are very expensive for our students to purchase. We would like to continue to give our students opportunities for learning to play an instrument that interests them. So many times the school needs to provide those instruments.
Treasurer Quiroz.
Can someone explain more about what is being done with food services related to the bond?
Certainly. Our Coordinator of Food Services, Gabrielle Wedelo, can provide more details.
The bond will allow for some updates to food services at various schools. For example, at the high school, we have hundreds of students moving through lunch lines in a short period of time. So we want to restructure the flow of service to provide students with their food more safe quickly.
Trustee Wells.
Madam President, I think we're very lucky to have such an amazing staff in Roseville. They consistently do what is best for the students every day. Roseville Community Schools is grateful for all their work.
Our district hired many new teachers this school year. Assistant Superintendent White, can you give us the names of our new teachers and the schools where they are teaching?
It is my pleasure to provide that information, Madam President. We have Angela Amore for Eastland and Roseville Middle, Taylor Body for Eastland Middle, Kimberly Brogan for Comment Elementary, Robert English Jr. for Roseville Middle, Michael Henge for Roseville Middle, Kelly Corte for Roseville High School, and Kevin Neiman for Roseville Middle and Roseville High School.
Vice President Terry Martin.
Madam President, I have heard that changes being implemented to the student seclusion and restraint procedures in schools is because of legislation in Lansing. What changes have been made?
Ms. Stinson, our Director of Special Education, can explain more about that because she has taken on that task.
In December 2016, Michigan adopted new laws limiting the use of seclusion and restraint.
The intent was to provide for a consistent policy that, among other things, promotes the care, safety, welfare, and security of the school community and the dignity of each student. Roseville Community Schools has met the requirements of the law by providing awareness training to all employees having extended contact with students. The district has also provided the required training in CPR, first aid, and nonviolent crisis prevention for identified key personnel in each building. When a student is secluded or restrained, the school is required to notify parents verbally and in writing.
Trustee Jaworski.
Madam President, may I get some explanation about what Roseville is doing to adhere to the updates?
Deputy Superintendent Knox, would you please explain more about that?
To elaborate on that, all of our staff underwent training to address the many changes at the start of the school year. This includes teachers, secretaries, custodians, and lunchroom staff.
Thank you. If there are no other questions or comments at this time, we'll continue with the next agenda item. Oops. Would anyone like to speak for the second public hearing?
Thank you. Roseville recently passed a non-homestead millage. Can you explain how this affects our students?
I'm going to direct that question to our superintendent, Ms. Harvey.
I would like to ask our Executive Director in Business and Finance, Ms. Fahn, to give you details.
The millage that was recently passed allows the district to levy 18 mills on the taxable value on each non-homestead property, mainly business in Roseville. The Department of Education requires an 18 mill levy from the city in order to receive the full foundation allowance from the state. Combined, the tax collection of approximately $7.3 million and the foundation allowance from the state at about $21 million totals about $28.3 million. This is about 55% of the budget that is used for the operations of the school district. These funds pay for the teachers, principals, custodians, and other staff that are either directly or indirectly involved in providing for the education needs of the students. In addition, funds are used to provide technology, transportation, and maintenance of buildings, including heat, water, electricity, and repairs. We are grateful for the voters of Roseville for passing this millage that will allow the students in our schools to continue to have the opportunity of gaining a good education.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to be heard? Okay. If there is no one that wishes to be heard, the public hearing is closed. Now we'll introduce Deputy Superintendent Blaskowski for Nice Things Happening.
Well, first of all, let's give our students a hand. And yes, Michaela, you said it right.
Thanks. I wrote it down.
So much writing. Now comes a interesting part of our program tonight, where the students that were selected here have an opportunity to honor some teachers that made a difference in their lives. So what we would ask is those teachers that are here, please stand behind your nominator now.
I wrote it in the Ever since I walked into Mr. Andrews' classroom, I haven't forgot what it felt like to actually learn something, yet alone understand it. Considering it was my first year of middle school and I had transferred from a different district, he was one of the major influences on me becoming comfortable at Roseville. The way he taught made the classroom environment feel like a little family, having us actively engaged and always liking what we were learning. He made learning fun and interesting. But besides just his teaching, Mr. Andrews could always make your day better just by simply cracking a joke or walking past you on your way to class by singing a song that you wouldn't think he knew. He is also very caring, even about his students, always making sure they're doing all right. 6 years later, my brother has been given the same opportunity that I've had by having Mr. Andrews as a teacher, and I'm very grateful for that. Okay. From the start of high school, things didn't look good for me. It was about a month before I was to start freshman year, and I wasn't enrolled into the school yet. I had no clue where I was to go, and honestly, I didn't even know where I was going to end up living. I don't remember much of freshman year. I just remember trying to settle back into Roseville and reconnecting with old friends while trying to find the right group to be around. I started freshman year just going with the flow and skating by. I didn't have anyone to turn to when I needed help, and I didn't know who I could trust. Then
sophomore year hit and a couple weeks into the school year, they decided to drop one of the classes that I was in. I was furious. They made us choose a new elective and there were none available that I wanted to be in. But I had to choose, so I weighed my options and ended up joining Intro to 3D Art with Ms. Rawson. I wasn't happy nor excited about this change at first. I had Ms. Rawson as an art teacher in middle school, and well, let's just say that our attitudes collided and we didn't get along that well. But now, without her, I would not have survived high school. I'm not going to lie or sugarcoat it for you. When I first got switched into her class, I had an attitude with her. But as I was sitting in her class, I realized a couple of things. I realized that I would have to get over the past because I was stuck in her class for the next 10 weeks or so. I also realized that a lot of the students in her classes didn't give her the respect that she deserved. So I put my attitude aside and tried to make things easier for her. Then one day in October, I was having a really bad day, and none of my teachers or even my friends bothered to ask me what was wrong, except for one of my teachers. That one was Ms. Rawson. She took me aside and we talked. She let me bawl my eyes out to her, and she was there to listen as well as comfort. From that day on, she made an effort to check up on me and make sure I was okay. And I realized that I could trust her. But I wasn't the only one who found someone that I could trust. She did too. Sophomore year was a really hard year with my family. At home, I felt like I didn't have a mother who I could go to and get advice on friends or boys, or even get the support that I needed. But at school, I had that mother. I had Ms. Rawson who was there to give me advice on whatever it was that I needed. Every tear that I shed, she would shed. Every laugh I belted out, she would belt out. Whenever I was down in the dumps, she wouldn't let the discouragement get the best of me, and she would tell me that my life is better than that and encourage me to do my best and give it my all. There has been a lot of tears, as well as laughs, stories, secrets, and advice shared that I will never forget. Ms. Rawson, you saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. You saw something of promise, of value, and you taught me to shine. Thank you for never quitting on me and letting me quit on myself. For believing in me, cheering me on, inspiring me, and guiding me with wisdom, patience, and more. You sensed when I was holding my own and when I hit a wall, and you knew when exactly to step in. Thank you for having my back and celebrating my improvement. But most importantly, thank you for being an exceptional person who helped me become a better leader.
I know that was.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Natalie, yours is probably gonna sound like that. Oh my God, I don't feel like Mr. Brown, aka Brad Brown. I started the hospitality program my sophomore year where I only had little sense about the community. From there, Groundsmith helped me grow and strengthen the love I have for the city. For trying something new to compete in competitions, Groundsmith always send me to pushing me. I'm on the road continuing my education and I'm thanking teacher and I have Grounds to thank for that. So thank you, Grounds, for helping me do that.
Gus. Oh my God. I can't really express the deep appreciation I have for you. Not only are you a kind, compassionate, and extremely funny, but you are a great person, and I'm proud to know you. You've helped me shape my high school years with your encouraging words along with your corny jokes. I want to thank you for always being there for me in good times and bad. I don't know what or who I could have turned to help me through some of my extremely tough days. Oh, wait, yeah. And you always had a way with your words to send me back on a positive track. I want to thank you for being on my side and actually listening to my problems other than blowing them off. Words can't describe how grateful I am to have you in my life. Coming into high school, I didn't think I would form such a great connection with anybody, but I'm glad it did, and I'm grateful that I was with you. So thank you for everything.
Today I'm honoring Miss Kessick, or as some people know her, Miss Lipinski, but I think everyone up here knows her as Miss Kessick. I've known her my entire life, basically. Her and my mom have been friends since they met at U of M Dearborn. Ms. Kessick has taught both me and my brother at Fountain, and during my time in her class in 2nd grade, I got to understand sarcasm for great. It was so great. And I think that's where I learned to be how sarcastic I am now, as many other people up here can tell you. She used to call me her little old man because I acted older than I really was at, how old are you in 2nd grade? Like 8 or 9. I was always a strange kid. I still get to see Miss Kessick all the time at birthday parties and family camping trips. She really helped me become who I am today by pushing me to be my best in and out of school. She always asks what I'm up to when I see her. I know that I can always go to her if I need anything. She's probably one of the strongest people I know. While dealing with lupus, she still gets up every day to help shape young minds in the school district. She's helped mold many minds on this board and in the high school. I hope I can touch as many people's lives as she has. I want to make her, Fountain, and Roseville Community Schools proud.
Today I'm honoring my news and broadcasting teacher, Mr. Madison. So going to high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was so unsure of everything. I was scared. And originally it was physical therapy, but I knew that that wasn't going to make me happy. And then that's when Mr. Madison introduced me to the world of media and film. I achieved a new appreciation for the subject and developed a passion that will lead me to college. I am now in my 3rd year of his class. I'm just as happy now as I was my 1st year. Madison always pushes me to be the best me I can be. He inspires me every day and encourages me not to give up. My video may not be the most exciting, or I may get some idea, but he's always there to guide me towards the best possible outcome. For every time I gave up on that video, he never gave up on me. For every time I had an idea and it fell flat, he picked it right back up. For every time I wasn't feeling the best, he was there to cheer me up. That's the thing about Mr. Madison. He wasn't just a teacher, but a mentor and a friend. Thank you for everything you've done for me and never giving up on me.
Don't get to read it. I'll stand here.
My teacher couldn't be here today, but the show must go on, so. Mr. Lang, words cannot express how much I appreciate you and all you've done for me throughout these years. It all started when I had you as a homeroom teacher in middle school. I was always a shy kid, but there was something about you that gave me comfort to be myself. I became very talkative and I'd always have a good time joking around with you. And you helped me more than you know, and I always appreciate that. I still visit you till this day by stopping by at the middle school after school's out to see how you've been doing, and we'll share stories for hours until we have to leave. And on good days, you like to share your lifesavers with me. Mr. Lang, you're the heart of Roseville. You have such a sweet soul, and I take so much pride in honoring you here today. I could go on and on about our good memories, but that can't. Oh my God. Okay, I could go on and on about our good memories, but that can be saved for another day when I bother at the middle school. I hope you impact more students in the future, just like how you've impacted me. You will always hold a special place in my heart, and I will always remember you and all the things you've done for me. Thank you for everything, Mr. Lang.
Hey. Alrighty, so today I'll be honoring David Clulo. I've had some pretty great teachers throughout these past years, and Clulo is the reason I happened to make it through all of them. I first met him my sophomore year, and I can remember there being a mix-up on my schedule, and I was in the wrong hour, and it was honestly embarrassing, but it was fine because a good outcome came out of it. because I came back later, that day I had him 5th hour now instead of 2nd hour. I wasn't so nervous to talk to him, and it was easier to ask questions because, I had already encountered him for the day. Okay. Throughout sophomore year, I had a friend named Emily who would come in just about every day to every other day to say hey to Klulo. And one day I decided to go sit up by Klulo's desk with her, and it became a daily routine. Klulo helped me accomplish so many obstacles in my life throughout the years that I've gone through. Sophomore year was a heartache, and Klulo was there for me to talk to me about it, and he always knew what to say. He never pushed me away, and he never let me down. He's always been there with me for new advice that I needed to hear at the times. He would always tell me that's why it's called a breakup, because they break and it hurts, but you'll pick up the pieces and put them back together. And from just hearing that one sentence proved to me that I could, and he got me through the heartache and back on my feet to an even better me. Most importantly, I wouldn't be friends with the friends that I have now if it weren't for Klulo. He brought us all together, and I honestly couldn't be more thankful. We all favored Klulo, and we used to eat lunch with him all the time, almost every day, just about. And now we're all the best of friends, and I wouldn't want to change that, so I thank Klulo for that as well. He also helped me through a very, very rough patch in my sophomore and junior year. My mother and stepfather at the time had recently been going through a divorce, and it got rough. I can remember having Klulo for 1st hour my last trimester of sophomore year, and I remember walking in dazed, not wanting to do anything, bawling my eyes out because, stuff at home was tough. I didn't want to do anything anymore. I just wanted to give up and just leave, and Klulo helped me push through it, and he wouldn't let me. He made me push it through the rest of the school year. He could notice when there was something off, and he would always make sure that I was okay. He never let me down, and I think to this day that if it weren't for Klulo being there for me and giving me advice on what to do with these situations, I can bet that I would not be here today or the person I am today. I was ready to give up, but he never let me, from helping me with my work to talking to me about my future and helping me make plans, checking up on my grades, all of the above. He was the one teacher I could count on, and I just wanted to say thank you, Klulo. I wouldn't have made it without you.
So today I'm honoring my choir teacher, Miss Collins. I first met Miss Collins my freshman year when I had auditioned for the musical Grease. And to be completely honest, she kind of scared me. But as the musical progressed, I soon found out that she is actually one of the most kind and talented women you will ever meet. It was because of her that I joined choir in the first place, causing me to fall in love with music. So that's why I'm honoring and thanking her today. Ms. Collins, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for me, but not just for me, for everything you've done for the choir, my friends, and now Drama Society as well. Thank you for your hard work and unwavering dedication to all of us, for staying long after school hours by running after-school activities such as Drama Society and show choir, as well as all the work you don't necessarily have to do yourself just to make things easier for us students. Thank you for teaching me everything I know about singing. I came into Roseville knowing nothing about singing properly freshman year, and now I just got a 1 at Musical Theater Solo Ensemble because of you. It's amazing. But more importantly, I want to thank you for making choir one big family. If it wasn't for your motherly attitude and kindness towards us, as well as always pushing us to be the best people we could be, we wouldn't be nearly as close of a group as we are now. It's all because of you. It's also because of you that I'm taking musical theater seriously and trying to go to school for it. You made me realize my dream, and you are my inspiration. So for everything you've ever done for the choir, and especially myself, just know that your hard work and dedication doesn't go unnoticed and is very much appreciated. And for that, I say thank you.
Mr. Wheeler taught the only class that I ever looked forward to going to, and he's the only teacher that I can say was just as much my friend as he was my actual teacher. He mastered the art of turning difficult class into something fun and instructive. I can honestly say that I've retained more information from his class than anything else I've ever had. My favorite part about Wheeler, though, is not the kind of teacher he is, but the person he is. He's nerdy and funny, but he's also one of the most charismatic and intelligent people I've ever met. If someone ever seems sick or sad or even stressed out in his class, he tried his hardest to figure out what was wrong and how to deal with it. He's the only teacher that I know spent as much time sitting at our table and laughing with us as he did teaching the class, and yet somehow the material still made sense. The things Wheeler did inside and outside of the classroom has helped push me to my limits and understand what I want to do with my life. I would not have the clarity going into college that I do now if he didn't share his passion with us the way that he did. At the end of the year last year, I remember he read us a book. It was a children's book about moving on. And now this might seem funny, and granted it is hilarious that he would read a children's book to an advanced class, but that's besides the point. The message and the emotion in the book, though, is what really mattered. This was the time of the year where half his class was graduating and the other half was now less than a year away. He also had just gotten his job switch, so it was a huge turning point for all of us. Looking back now, I understand more and more of what the book really meant to him and to us. As he finished the book, he had tears in his eyes and choking up, and naturally so was the rest of the class, including myself. He said something along the lines of, "I guess this is goodbye." While I can't speak for others, I know that for me, when a teacher has had much of an impact on me as he did, graduation will not be the last time that we speak. Thank you, Mr. Wheeler.
All right. Sorry, I've got the tears out of my eyes. Today, I'm honoring Mr. Gitter because he was my 5th grade teacher, gosh. And I feel like 5th grade is a very influential time in a kid's life and school career. He got me ready to go to middle school the next year and made me a better student. He also made me very sarcastic and witty because that's how he taught us. For that, I have to thank him. And I don't think I would have been this successful in middle school and in high school if I didn't have him. I wasn't a very good elementary school student. I don't know why, just did not like it. But after him, it changed. And I think if he didn't turn me into in the right direction, I definitely wouldn't be getting good grades the way I am and involved in my school community. So thank you very much.
All right. When I was told I had to think of someone in Roseville who has positively impacted my life, it was without a doubt the easiest decision for me. Mrs. Colliers continuously goes above and beyond for her students. I mean, she left Costa Rica with 1 daughter and came back with 2. From ziplining in Costa Rica to jumping off the cliffs in the sinkhole in Mexico, you have always pushed me to be the best version of myself. You've helped me to mold me into the adventurous and courageous young woman I am today, even when I don't always take your advice. You're always very receptive to my needs and would cross oceans to help me in any way you could. To me, you embody strength, wisdom, and patience. Mrs. Colliers, you do so many amazing things for people and could use a lot more appreciation. So this one's for you. Thanks for being loving, smart, wonderful, and your hilarious self. Please never change because you will always be a role model for me. I hope I can grow up and be half the person you are one day. Love, me.
As student athletes, coaches make up a pretty big part of our careers. Not only do our coaches teach us about our sport, but life lessons like leadership, teamwork, accountability, and punctuality. These lessons stay with us for life, even after our time in the sport is over. In my lifetime, I have had dozens of coaches for all different types of sports and teams, but none of them have impacted me the way my volleyball coach for the past 4 years, Coach Nick, has. It's hard to try and put it into words how immense of an impact he has had, but here goes nothing. To be perfectly honest, I really didn't like him at first because of how hard he was on my older sister, Alex. But I'm pretty sure he didn't like me either, or more specifically, my attitude. Before I had Nick as a coach, I used to have the worst attitude ever. It was really quite painful to watch. Just ask my parents or anyone I played with. Forcing me to reevaluate the way I looked at the game and teaching me not to take things so personally, with a combination of pulling me out of games or practices and straight up saying if I didn't fix my attitude, I wouldn't get played, is what took me from a good player to a great one and from an okay person to an infinitely better one. Coach, I know I've never really said it much, but thank you. Thank you for putting up with me year-round with club from November to June, summer practices July to August, and school season September to October. I know it wasn't easy, but you never doubted me and always pushed me to do my very best. And once I did that, you pushed me even further. I don't think my love and passion for my favorite sport ever would even exist if it wasn't for you, and that's something I cannot thank you for enough. I am so grateful for all the lessons you taught me on and off the court, and that's why I chose to honor you as the teacher that had the greatest impact on me in all of my years of learning. Thank you again. I will always cherish the countless memories made and important lessons learned.
Okay, well, I'm honoring Mr. Behrens. Okay. Well, to start off, Mr. Behrens is my brick teacher and has been for the past 2 years. Before I met him, I would usually just talk to my friends and distance myself from teachers, not speaking to them only if I had to. But with Mr. Behrens was different. Every time I walked into his class, he would just make me smile. No matter the problem, no matter the situation, or no matter what was happening. With him, I could talk to him about whatever I needed to or whatever mattered in my life. Plus, he was one of the only teachers that was actually concerned about my future, what I want to do after high school and after that. So, Mr. Behrens, thank you.
Today I chose to honor my woodshop teacher, Mr. Holmes. I chose Mr. Holmes because he constantly pushes me to do better and try harder and confronts me when I don't. He shows me kindness and sympathy when I'm upset and most of all treats me as one of his own. A huge factor of me choosing him was that I can tell that he truly and genuinely believes in me even when I don't believe in myself or when I feel like no one else does. There are only a few adults that I don't like to disappoint, like my parents, and Mr. Holmes is one of them. With that being said, I know that I get on his nerves all the time, and he for sure gets on mine, but I couldn't imagine anyone else behind me today. Thank you for everything you do for me, Mr. Holmes.
The teacher I'm honoring is Miss Baker. For many students, the transition from elementary to middle school is very difficult. I had Mrs. Baker in 7th grade at Eastland Middle School for social studies, but she's done so much more for me than just teach me about history. Throughout middle school, she was always my favorite teacher. I could go to her and talk about anything as if I was talking to a friend rather than one of my teachers. As long as I've known Mrs. Baker, she's always going out of her way to help with whatever her students need, and I truly believe she has her students' best interests at heart. Mrs. Baker is funny, kind-hearted, and caring. I would like to thank her for being a friend, a counselor, a mentor, a guide, and an educator. Lastly, I want to thank Mrs. Baker for all that she has done for me and for allowing me to have her as my honored teacher.
I'll be honoring Miss Struan. When I walked into the beginning journalism class with Miss Struan, my sophomore year, I thought it would just be another class that I just forget about once I passed. Little did I know Miss Struan almost every day would say to me, "I need you in my newspaper class." I never would have known that newspaper would inspire me to pursue my career in journalism if I hadn't listened to her. Miss Struan was one of the first real teachers I've had a connection with, instead of just sitting in the class and hoping time would magically go by so I could leave. I want to thank Ms. Struan for not only teaching me everything I know about journalism, from quote name said to never saying the person's first name once you've stated it, but also being a friend. Ms. Struan was there through it all with me, from the days I wanted to cry over a stupid situation or just talking about my future. I want to thank her for her great advice and wise words, treating me like one of her own. Especially, I want to recognize how much she puts up with me and another classmate always bickering and acting like two siblings fighting with their mother yelling at them. You know who I'm talking about. Thank you, Ms. Struan, for everything and making my high school years so much more to remember.
Okay, today I'm honoring my coach Brad. So soccer has always been my excuse for everything, like my everyday life. And having Brad there at practice just makes my life just so much easier. So on my mind to honor was Brad. He's such a kind-hearted person and always there for me. So my freshman year, I was on JV, and he pulled me aside to talk to me for like pulling me up for the tournament that we had and to go on varsity through on. So therefore, I've been with him through high school. He knows what to do to put the team in a better mood before the game and makes the team a family. I'm not just talking about the girls' team, I'm talking about both teams together, boys and girls. Leave me alone, Sierra. Not just helping me on the field, Brett has made me a better person in life out of school. Thank you for being there throughout my high school career and pushing me to be my best.
I would like to thank Mrs. Schmallenberg. I chose Mrs. Schmallenberg because she was the first teacher I had at Roseville after switching from Lakeview after sophomore year, and she really showed me how great teachers are. She was always making learning easy. She was always available to talk if I needed, and taught me great life skills. Also, her class was the first English class that wasn't extremely hard for me, since I'm more of a science and math kind of guy. I've always struggled with English, but due to her awesome ability to teach skills and teach English, her class was the first English class that I received higher than a C in. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Teachers, be proud of this moment. This is what it's all about, making a difference in kids' lives. Thank you for all the dedication, time, sacrifices that you give to help these students. Thank you very much.
As superintendent of the schools and with the other administrators and the board members that are here, we're very, very proud of our staff. We're very, very proud of our students that are up here. But as proud as we are, it can't be as proud as you are as their parents, as their grandparents, as their family members. So thank you for sending them to the Roseville schools. Thank you for making them what they are. And you got some beautiful kids. Before the staff members, I guess, can sit down, but before we go any farther, I want to have the different students introduce who's here with them in the audience who has made a difference in their life. With the bond money, we'll buy a new mic.
With me here today is my dad, Jeff Zarelli.
You win.
Raise your hand.
Today I have my mom and dad here and my grandma over there. Don't hide.
Okay, today I have my mom and my dad here. They're over there.
I have my mom and my stepdad here. I have my dad here.
Besides my friends and my second parents, I have my grandma here.
Thank you anyways.
Me? Yeah. I have my mother, Melissa Lynn Childress, here.
I have my dad and mother here. I have my dad, Matthew White, my mom, Barbara White, and my mini-me, Chase.
I have my mom right there.
I have my beautiful mom in the black hat right there. I love you. And my amazing boyfriend, James, over there, too. Love you guys.
I have my mom with me over there in the pink.
My mom, dad, and granny are here. Right there?
I have my mom. Love you.
I have my second set of parents over there.
I have my mom and my dad, which are right there.
I'm here by myself.
Alrighty, I have my mom and my dad and one of my closest friends.
Today I have the one and only Mama Fawn.
We're just going to take a moment and let each member of the staff say a few words, because they spent time with the students today, and that was a fun day. So, Joe, how about if we start with you down there? We love it. It never works with okay.
Just had a wonderful time with Joseph today. He's a bright kid. He's got a wonderful future. And if you ever need any advice or anything from me, come on back. Thank you.
Had a great time with Ryan also this morning. Good to meet him. I mentioned that I knew his mom. I met his dad. I knew his uncle.
Couldn't get away with
And I mentioned that life in this world is just a fishbowl, and be careful. But
I can all
great time with you today. I know both parents and they're great people and they raised a good kid. I hope you get that brand new car you were talking about.
I was able to spend some time with Hannah today, and for your parents, I just want to make sure you understand that if she goes to Northern Michigan, she's going to buy some extra coats. Good luck with that.
It was very nice working with someone today who actually wants to do something in food service. It's a career that people often overlook, and I'm just very happy to work with someone.
Pastries.
I had a wonderful time today getting to know Destiny, and she's got a plan for the future, and it's great to hear a young person with so much drive and talking about going far away to school, but you know, she knows what she wants and she's going to go after it. So she also shared with me a really nice story about being very compassionate towards one of our students that's in special education, and I know with someone with a heart like that, you're going to go far.
Mitch was a great young man. He's going to go a long way in life. I think he really wanted my job today. So I wouldn't give it to him. More years. He's a very interesting young man, has a great career in front of him. So, he's going to miss high school, though. Now the work begins.
I'm Doug Dinning. I'm the general counsel for the district. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to spend the day with Lauren as some of the other counterparts have, but she did indicate to me that she didn't want to take my job. That ended my whole lecture about law school. Best wishes to Lauren.
Had a great day working with the kids and with Madison in particular. A lot of her interests and a lot of her connections to school were the same as my second child, so I could relate her media experiences with Madison's class, her newspaper experiences with Druin's class, and I gave her a couple ideas for some scholarship competitions that I know she'll be perfect for. So, good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had the opportunity to talk to Ashley a little bit today. I think she's on the right track, and parents should be really proud of her. I think she'll go a long way in the world. I'm glad she's going to take over and I can retire. Pay more taxes.
Mine, his counterpart, is ill this evening. He has the flu, so we didn't want him around. But we did want, I had the privilege of working with all of them today, and they were just a bunch of fun kids today, so I hope you had fun.
Thank you.
Ms. Green?
Hi. I didn't get an opportunity to spend a lot of time with Noah and the group today. I did come in earlier, but I wasn't feeling that well, so I went home and laid down and came back this afternoon. So I've enjoyed everybody. I usually do. They're great. They're fantastic. I mean, it just blows your mind how they can pick this stuff up and just carry on. So I want all of you to know that I wish you the best, and don't be a quitter. You know, you gotta set your goals high, and then you gotta reach for them. You can't give up. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to spend the entire day with you, but I enjoyed the time that I did spend with you. Thank you.
I as well was not able to attend the morning session. Some of us have to work, so. And today was just a terrible day that I just couldn't get away. So, you know, just listening to some of the comments and earlier, you know, in the school year, you know, listening to and, you know, saw and listening and seeing some of the colleges that these kids are attending. You know, we as Roseville parents should be proud of these kids and their accomplishments. And, you know, like I've always said, this is the best kept secret in the southeast corner of Macomb County here. So keep it up, and you parents should be proud.
I was able to spend some time with Serena today, and she's a very nice young lady. However, I'm afraid I bored her to tears with talks and numbers, but she was real good about it. She pretended to be interested.
It's okay, I know how you feel. I have to sit next to her. I got to spend some time with Brooklyn today, and what I've kind of got from today is everybody has a story of perseverance. A situation in which was very difficult, and they got through that, but they got through that with help from somebody. And so I want you to know that now you have to pay it forward. So that's right. So now when you leave here today,
Okay.
you have to remember
Okay.
about how somebody had helped you get through a tough time so that you can do the same.
Okay.
So, and also, I tried to recruit her for Eastern Michigan University. It's much closer than Northern. You can pay me later, okay? But I'm a Huron.
Oh my
now
God,
there you go. But I'm a Huron, so it was in my room. Closer.
Well, I got to spend no time at all with Cody today. But I will tell you this, when I got here this evening, I talked to a couple of staff members, and everyone gave you very high marks on both your personality and the type of person that you are. So I know that if I got to spend a little time with you today, we would have hit it off perfectly. Most people love me a lot too, you know?
Love that.
Good luck to you. Most people, maybe one or two. And thank you all for being here. This is a great group of kids.
I had a very good day today. He asked a lot of good questions. I think we're in very good hands here with our future of these young men and ladies. And I thank all the parents. I have an 8-year-old boy here that I'm raising here in Roseville, me and my wife, and I just look at all these guys and I hope that he turns out like them.
Well, a lot of things have been said, and I guess I'm going to start by saying I'm getting real close to retirement, and I think the district has found a replacement. Everything that I could do, Sierra did today, and she did it extremely well. And I think she has a better idea of how the schools run and what goes on in the school district because of us spending some time today. So thank you for running. Thank you for being here today. And God bless. A couple other things, we need to recognize a couple other people that are here. First of all, the principal of the high school. Dr. Adams, could you stand up? The assistant principal at the high school, Mr. Dennis Borzi. The other assistant principal at the high school, Mr. Gary Sheff. She was here. She's here. She's here. Hi, Monica. I did see Dr. Mickens here.
He's there.
Hi, Dr. Mickens. We also have a very unique city here. I've worked with superintendents throughout the state, and I hear what goes on in other districts and other cities. And I can match Roseville with any other city in the state with the relationship that we have with not only the fire department, the police department, but most importantly, the city council. And with us tonight are multi-city council individuals that have come here to support you students and to also be part of our celebration with you. And I'd like to start with Mayor Pro Tem Jan Haggerty. Kathy Haw. Councilman Steve Watisha. And his beautiful wife, Mary. And we also have Charles Frontera. Charles is also a substitute teacher at the high school level. Thank you again. And, oh, I'm just the man that orchestrated all this.
Thank you, Mr. Clement.
I had it. First of all, I would like to introduce our newest board member who's been elected this past couple weeks ago, Mike Anderson. I don't know if I should call him Michael or Mike. He's replacing Greg Scott, who we're going to miss very much, but we know he's not going to be a stranger, and we're going to keep him around, and we've had his number, and you'll probably see him at all the events as always. I also wanted, sitting down there thinking how they all talked about their favorite teacher, and I think back in school, I had all nuns, and I can't tell you that I can't honestly say that I would never, I don't know of anybody that I would have a nun behind me. I mean, so the teachers, just what a great job, and how much you're all loved by your staff. It's awesome. And as we're sitting here, Michaela, I hope you had a great time. You did a wonderful job. I'm glad I talked you into doing that this year. Did you have fun? I hope everybody had fun. I think you had enough to eat. Did you have enough to eat? One thing, as we've talked among the board and administrators up here all the time, it's great how they get to recognize someone that's special to them. So we decided this year we're going to recognize someone who's special to us, board members and administrators. And we brought Mr. Churkin, who's our state representative, who has been an ex-mayor and part of Roseville forever. And he's going to recognize our superintendent, John Clement, who has been in education for 51 years this year, and we can't think of anybody better than to recognize who's been our friend, our confidant, and taken this district to many, many bounds. And we're going to miss him when he does go, but he's not going yet. So if you go down there, Mr. Churkin has something for you.
Come on down, Josh.
Yes, he does.
First of all, I'd like everybody to give a round of applause to the students that did a fine job. And the honorees, too, also. I acknowledge them. But anyways, I've known this man for over 27 years, Mr. Clement. And he is a leader among school administrators, not only in Macomb County, but the whole state of Michigan. He's a great guy. He's got the students' interests in his heart all the time. So I made some notes, and my staff wrote a special tribute to Mr. John. So let's go in the middle here. All 4 paragraphs long, so bear with me. Let it be known that it is with our most sincere appreciation for which John Clement's outstanding leadership has enriched the lives of many students and families throughout the Roseville community that we join in on this occasion giving him thanks for his 51 years of service in educating many of our current and future community leaders. The counsel, encouragement, and guidance that he has shared with others has had a positive influence far beyond the students that have come in contact with John to help make Roseville, Macomb County, and Michigan a better place to live. And he was my wife's teacher, so you know that's a long time. John Clement was born on February 28, 1947, where his life pursuit of learning, I should have said change, I'm sorry. Pursuit of learning and teaching earned him a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, and a specialist degree. John has spent a total of over 51 years in the education profession, where he has served in many capacities, including a high school teacher, athletic director, school principal, and for the last 31 years as superintendent of Roseville Community Schools. He served in various capacities with the Metro Detroit Bureau of School Studies, including as its director from 92 to 96, vice president from 96 to 98, president from 98 to 2000, and past president 2000 and 2002. He also served as the secretary-treasurer from 1997 to 1998, vice president and president of the Macomb Association of School Administrators. John was also president of the Rotary Club from 1984 to 1985 and is a member of SETSEG Insurance Board. His hobbies include history, government, classic music, cars, and he is quite the classic car enthusiast and proud owner of a Thunderbird and a Mustang. John has always been a strong supporter of Roseville and Macomb County. And it could not have been achieved so much with his success in his career without the loving support of his wife, Julie, his 6 children, Wendy, Jeff, Greg, Margaret, Julie, and Chris, and it is with our most heartfelt hope that he continues to achieve even more great things in the future. In his 51 years of service to the Roseville Community Schools, John has followed the noble pursuit of educating our future generations and providing them with long life skills, lessons, and knowledge necessary to be capable of being outstanding citizens. During his years in the classroom, in administration and public policy advocacy, many changes has occurred in our society and the state that has impacted the learning process and educational system as a whole. Tremendous cultural, sociological, you might have to say this one, sociological and technological changes have transpired here in Michigan and elsewhere. In addition, as John knows in education, with the personal sense of duty John brings to work every day, he is able to meet these challenges with great enthusiasm and a general interest in coming to make a positive difference in the lives of everyone he comes in contact with. John is a true testament to the human spirit and dedication our educators have to making the community a better place to live. John's ability to meet these constant pressures to cope with an ever-changing world requires not only the ability to adapt, but also the intelligence, leadership, and deep sense of compassion to guide that transition forward. We are appreciative of John's commitment and passion to Roseville, and for this we honor him an excellent job for what he is doing. In a special tribute, therefore, this document is signed and dedicated to join with the residents, the school board members, administrators, teachers, faculty, support staff, and the students of Roseville Community Schools as we express our gratitude for the excellent job that Superintendent Clement has done and wish him continued success in the future.
paid $100 for this t-shirt. It was worth every penny, John, thank you. I've often said the best thing that I've done in my life besides marrying my wife is coming to
Speaking of your wife, Mr. Clement, I think she's hiding around the corner. Julie, are you here?
Hi, honey. Thank you very much, and thank you for the honor to be here inside of Roseville. As a superintendent, you don't get to know students like you do in the classroom. You really don't. In the classroom, you see the students every single day. You know their lives, you know their families, their pets' names, everything. Superintendent's kind of isolated. But I don't regret becoming a superintendent. There's activities and things that I was able to do that I would never been able to do. And I think I've helped students, those that are gifted and also those that struggle in school. I think every student is important, and I think every student should have the opportunity when they graduated from the Roseville schools to be able to have a career, a job, that they can buy a house, they can buy a car, they can raise their own family. And that's probably the best thing, the thing I strive for the most. I've been blessed. I've had a wonderful Board of Education, and I'm just very, very proud to be here inside of Roseville. Hi, honey.
We need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion, all right, meeting adjourned.